You look around and it seems like everyone else is moving forward, hitting their milestones, while you are stuck in the exact same place. When that uncertainty sets in, it is incredibly easy to slowly lower your expectations. You start settling for a reality that is simply good enough, not because it is what you actually want, but because trying for anything more carries the paralyzing risk of failure. Deep down, most people have a quiet, lingering ambition, a sense of purpose they would love to pursue, but the vast majority actively choose to ignore it just to protect their current level of comfort. To break out of that paralysis, we have to look at risk and purpose differently, and the clearest way to understand that shift is through the story of a boy named Santiago. Looking at these rolling hills and white buildings of Andalusia, Spain, you can imagine Santiago's life. He is a shepherd, living a highly predictable, comfortable routine tending to his flock. But his peace is continually disrupted by a recurring dream. In it, a child tells him that if he travels to these monuments, the Egyptian pyramids at Giza, he will find a hidden treasure. Confused, Santiago eventually meets an enigmatic old man who claims to be the king of Salem. The king introduces Santiago to the idea of a personal legend, your unique, destined path in life, and tells him that to fulfill it, he must sell his beloved sheep and head to Egypt. Santiago faces a dilemma that mirrors the first step of any meaningful endeavor. To chase what truly matters, he has to willingly dismantle the very safety net that keeps him comfortable. Santiago takes the leap. He arrives in Africa, landing in the bustling streets of Tangier, seen here with its narrow uphill paths and towering minarets. But his bravery is immediately met with disaster. A thief tricks him and steals every coin he has. It is tempting to view an early disaster as a sign from the universe that you should quit. In reality, these initial failures are often just the mandatory cost of entry for pursuing a difficult goal. Stranded, Santiago takes a job cleaning glass for a local crystal merchant. Over the next year, Santiago introduces new ideas that make the shop highly profitable, effectively earning back his safety net. The merchant has his own personal legend to join the massive crowd of pilgrims shown in this photograph, gathered around the Kaaba and Mecca. He has the money to go, but he refuses. He confesses he is terrified that if he actually achieves his lifelong dream, he will have nothing left to live for. Santiago listens to the merchant, but chooses a different path. Rather than settling into his wealth, he takes his earnings, leaves the shop behind, and joins a caravan heading deep into the Sahara Desert. The greatest threat to Santiago's journey wasn't the thief in Tangier. It was the quiet, seductive comfort of the crystal shop, a reality that was good enough to make him consider stopping his search forever. On the caravan, Santiago befriends an Englishman traveling to meet a legendary alchemist. The Englishman has spent his life reading massive volumes on alchemy, attempting to learn the world's secrets entirely through theory rather than taking real-world action. During a stop at a desert oasis, Santiago falls in love with a woman named Fatima, but rather than asking him to stay, she encourages him to continue his journey, demonstrating that true affection supports your ambitions rather than acting as a chain that holds you back. Santiago finally meets the alchemist, who guides him further into the desert. Captured by a hostile army, the alchemist forces Santiago into a seemingly impossible test. He must generate a massive, swirling sandstorm to secure their release. This extreme danger forces Santiago to completely conquer his fear of failure. This brings us to a concept the book calls the soul of the world. The core idea is that the universe genuinely wants to help you achieve your purpose, but it will ruthlessly test your resolve first. Just as a raw piece of metal is struck by a hammer to become a blade, the obstacles in the desert were the alchemical process itself. Each trial was refining Santiago, forging him into someone capable of handling the treasure he sought. After months of travel, loss, and near-death experiences, Santiago finally arrives at the base of the Egyptian pyramids. He falls to his knees and begins desperately digging in the sand for his gold. He digs for hours, but the chest isn't there. Suddenly, a group of refugees approaches, robs him of the little gold he has left, and beats him, mocking him for risking his life over a childhood dream. As the attackers leave, one of them laughs and shares a secret of his own. He tells Santiago that he also had a recurring dream of a hidden treasure. buried under a specific sycamore tree next to a ruined church in Spain. Santiago smiles through his injuries. The physical treasure he had bled for, crossed a continent for, and nearly died for was buried in his own backyard, in the exact spot where he slept on the very first day of his journey. This raises an immediate question. If the gold was in Spain all along, why did the universe force Santiago to endure years of suffering across the desert? If he had dug up the gold on day one, he would have been rich, but he would have remained the same boy who left. He would never have learned the language of the world or conquered his fears. The journey wasn't an obstacle to the treasure. The journey was the treasure. When we apply this to the friction in our own lives, the logic holds. The setbacks that feel like they are stopping us are often the very things preparing us to sustain the success we're chasing. If you feel lost, it's not because you've taken a wrong turn. It's because you are currently being forged. As this tiny seedling forcefully pushes through the dry, sun-baked earth, it proves that real growth requires immense pressure. Fear is the only thing standing in the way of your transformation. All you have to do is take that